I'd like to call to order the Canton Township Board of Trustees regular board meeting on October 11, 2022 at 7 o'clock p.m. Clerk Segers, can you please take roll call?
Borninski,
Good evening.
Foster,
Good evening.
Ganguly,
Good evening.
Hudak.
Good evening.
Let the record reflect that Clerk Segrist is both here and also saying good evening, and that Treasurer Slavens is absent. Trustee Snyderman.
I am here.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Segers, supported by Trustee Foster. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Can I have a motion to approve minutes September 13th and 27th?
Moved.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Segers, supported by Trustee Borninski. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So the next item is the public comment on agenda items only, and it's for 3 minutes, please. So if anyone in the room want to make public comment on the agenda items only, you can come up to the podium, please. Anyone in the room? Yes, sir. Yes, you can come on up. Please state your name and where you're from, please.
My name is Mike Ficori. I'm from the BP station at Cherry Hill and Canton Center, 125 South Canton Center. And it's come to my attention, you guys are considering to change the plan that you guys had in place. They want to try to get it amended to try to put a gas station up for BJ Wholesale. And, you know, I can't really even explain the impact that would have on all the gas stations in the community. We've been in business since 1978, in Canton since 1993. And we've, to Kroger and BJ Wholesale, Costco, Sam's Club, we've had 30 locations and we've lost more than 50% of our business over the years to these big companies. And we felt very safe in Canton. It's one of our last stores because the city had a moratorium on not allowing any new gas stations. And when this came to my attention, when you have a company that's going to come in here that we cannot compete with, that will absolutely draw volume, even if it's a membership-only gas station, people from the whole community will join, and it will have a huge impact, not on just my location, but on every location throughout the city. And if you really want to know how much a company like that will draw in terms of business, I have a location next to one on North Line and 75 where they built a BJ Wholesale gas station. It took 35% of my business. I'm 3 miles away from it. Here, I'm less than 3 miles away. I can imagine I'll probably lose 50%, as well as several other people in the community. And it'll be very hard to sustain a business like this after, going through COVID, all these challenging times, the decrease in volume with cars getting better gas mileage, you have EV coming into the market. It's very hard to survive as it is. And if we can consider not allowing any more fueling stations and stick with the plan, you would probably help save a lot of these local businesses because there's a lot of families that count on them. And this is what we live off of. This is one of my last 3 locations left, and we kept it just because we felt safe here. Now, I hope that doesn't change. So if you guys would consider not doing an amendment to the plan, and hopefully the city would consider, understanding the impact it would have. And you could only imagine, I have 3 families that live alone on our businesses. Between my mother, my father, and my sisters, we depend on the income to survive, let alone all the people that work for us too. So if you guys would consider not doing an amendment to the plan, it would be greatly appreciated. And I know I'm not the only one. There's other people here to speak, other families that depend on their businesses here in Canton as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Public comment on agenda items only? I'm going to go online and see if we have anybody online. Yes. I'm sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Hussein Mackey. I'm from the BP at Ford and Sheldon, and I just want to echo Mr. Fakuri's statement. My family has been here since 2010, and we deeply depend on our business to survive. My brother, my sister, my parents, myself, and we are just right next door to where this proposal will be. So if you could just consider us also, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? I'm sorry, could you please speak in the microphone? Thank you.
Lily and Cherry Hill Mobile. We've been there since '96. My brother, who served in the 82nd Airborne, bought the land in '95. I think it was a pumpkin patch back then, I don't remember, but we bought the land, built the station, we've been there ever since. We love working in Canton. They pretty much nailed it. If BJ's opens up, they will bury us, pretty much. They sell gas below cost. We can afford to do that. Canton does not need another gas station. They really don't. We have 4 families that live out of that station. Everything changed after COVID. Electric cars, you got people working from home. Cars are 30, 40 miles per gallon now. They used to be half of that 10 years ago. So things are different now. So right now we're surviving. You bring another gas station to Canton, especially BJ's. Speedway is okay. All the other ones in Canton are okay. They sell their gas at a good margin, just enough so we can pay our bills and save a little bit more. But BJ's actually, they lowball. They go below everybody. And if we try to match them, that means we're selling gas below cost, and that wouldn't make any sense. So please consider not approving their gas station. Canton does not need another gas station. You guys have enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room?
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say exactly what they said and added, please reconsider, because it's livelihood of a lot of people, a lot of families. You're talking about one gas station feed 5 families, and some of them have 3, 4 kids. And it's really like, if it ever happened, it won't be damaging for those families. Thank you.
Sir, do you want to state your name and
Taysir,
what gas station? I'm just wondering if you're representing a gas
station with PB,
BP?
the one, yes, in the corner, Cherry Hill with Canton Center Road.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the room? All right, I'm going to look online. Online, we have some people here. Does anyone want to comment on agenda items only? I don't see any hands. I need one comment twice, comment 3 times. Okay, thank you. So public comment on agenda items only is closed right now. Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Foster. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. The next item is the swearing-in of Canton Youth Advisory Committee. Chelsea, would you like to come up and say something, or Laura, about the youth, or anybody want to speak for them before we do the swearing-in? It's all the guys in the same shirts here, right?
So we are welcoming a new Council of Youth Advisory Council members to Canton again this year. We have 8 returning members this year and 7 new members, and so every year we invite them to be sworn in by the Board of Trustees as youth representatives for Canton Township. They have a chock-full agenda of initiatives that they want to accomplish this year, and so we're really excited to get that work going and pick up where we left off with a really meaningful program year last year with tons of accomplishments. So we're excited to be here, and we're glad to be sworn in by the Board of Trustees.
Great, thank you. Clerk Segrist, do you want to do the honors?
Does everybody want to come up? And then maybe line up in front of the
dais.
Congratulations. So we don't have a presentation today then from the group? Oh, you do? Okay, sure. Hi.
Hi, my name is Soraya, and I am the president-elect of the Youth Advisory Council. And it brings me great joy to say that the Youth Advisory Council is finally back in business. And like Chelsea said, we have 8 returning members and 7 new members for a total of 15 members this year. And we plan on picking up where we left off last year with the Youth Needs Assessment. We are planning on drafting and finalizing that and having that out as soon as possible. And we're also planning on rolling out the youth program assessment that we had passed out to you guys. And we'll be giving that to local youth groups, and we'll also be presenting it at the M-Parks conference. And we'll be participating in the GSI study, as we had stated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have any questions at all?
Board members have any questions or comments? No? No, we're
Okay.
looking forward to all your reports. Thank you.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so much.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a recognition. It's a proclamation of the National Friends of Libraries Week, and Trustee Foster is going to read that.
Whereas Friends of the Canton Public Library raised money that enables our library to move from good to great, providing the resources for additional programming, much-needed equipment, support for children's summer reading, and special events throughout the year. Whereas the work of the Friends highlights on an ongoing basis the fact that our library is the cornerstone of our community, providing opportunities for all to engage in the joy of lifelong learning and connect with the thoughts and ideas of others from ages past to the present. Whereas the Friends understand the critical importance of well-funded libraries and advocate to ensure that our library gets the resources it needs to provide a wide variety of services to all ages, including access to print and electronic materials, along with expert assistance in research, reader's advisory, and children's services. Whereas the Friends' gift of their time and commitment to the library sets an example for all in how volunteerism leads to positive civic engagement and the betterment of our community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Canton Township Board of Trustees recognizes October 16th through 22nd, 2022 as Friend of the Libraries Week in Canton Township, Wayne County, Michigan, and urges everyone to join the Friends of the Library and thank them for all that they do to make our library and community so much better.
Support.
Motion made by trustee Foster and supported by clerk Segrist. All those in favor of adopting the motion say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Is anyone here from the library to accept this? I know we took a certificate over earlier, but no? Okay. We'll just take this over and we'll let them know we read it into record. Thank you. And of course, Clerk Segrist and Trustee Foster were both on the library board, so it's really impressive that you got to read that today. Can I have a motion on the consent calendar, please?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board approve or adopt the consent calendar as presented. Item C1, consider awarding a contract for ADA improvements pursuant to the 2019 CIP or Capital Improvement Plan. And then item C2, consider adoption of a resolution for approval of application for additional MERS service credit by an employee.
Motion made by Clerk Segrist, supported by Trustee Snyderman. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Consent calendar passes. Next item is the general calendar. Item G1, consider Plan Development District Amendment, Amendment Number 3 of Ford Sheldon Newman PDD for BJ's Wholesale Club Automobile Filling Station.
There it is. The longest RBA I've ever seen. Madam Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the following resolution. The approval of Ford Sheldon Newman Planned Development District Amendment Number 3 for BJ's Wholesale Club. Whereas project sponsor has requested approval of Amendment Number 3 to the Ford Sheldon Newman Planned Development District for BJ's Wholesale Club Automobile Filling Station located on the north side of Ford Road between Sheldon Road and Morton Taylor Road. And whereas the Planning Commission reviewed the amended plan development agreement and voted 8-0 to recommend approval of the request with conditions as it is consistent with the Ford Sheldon Newman plan development and meets the design requirements for the zoning ordinance. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Canton, Michigan hereby approve planning of application, subject planning application number listed for Amendment Number 3 to the Ford Sheldon Newman Plan Development on the subject tax parcel at 43690 Ford Road, subject to the conditions stated in the PDD agreement amendment, subject to acceptable legal review and Municipal Services Division staff review of the PDD agreement and subject to compliance with all requirements of the zoning ordinance.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Snyderman. The applicant, BJ's Wholesale Club, is a retail superstore that recently occupied the vacated parcel by J.C. Penney at 43690 Ford Road on the north side of Ford Road between Sheldon and Morton Taylor Roads. The BJ's parcel, as listed, consists of a 104,718 square foot building, a 415-space parking lot, and an access drive directly from Morton Taylor Road, as well as several cross-access points to the adjacent sites. BJ proposes to construct a gas station on a vacant portion of the parcel to the south parcel as listed, which is currently heavily vegetated. Both parcels are part of the Ford Sheldon Newman PDD, which was originally approved in 2004 for the current site, and a site plan for J.C. Penney was approved in 2007 pursuant to the PDD. The current PDD agreement permits retail superstores and was amended in 2021 for the BJ's Wholesale Club. The applicant proposes to amend the PDD agreement to allow for the proposed automobile filling stations with conditions. The terms of the proposed PDD amendment are summarized as follow. The gas station will be ancillary to BJ's Wholesale Club or successor user and will be available only to members of the BJ's Wholesale Club or successor user. The gas station must comply with the requirements of the zoning ordinance for automobile filling stations unless variances are approved. The hours of operation of the gas station shall be limited to between 6:30 a.m. and 10 o'clock p.m. Monday through Saturday and 6:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Sundays. There shall not be any outdoor amplification or speaker system at the gas station. The kiosks depicted on the plan shall be for employee usage only and shall not involve or facilitate in any way the sale of any retail items other than the fuel from the respective pumps. Vending machines or sale of items other than automobile fuel is prohibited, and the restrooms and kiosks shall be for employee contractor use only. The open space of the property must be at least 25% per the PDD and the zoning ordinance. The BJ site will convert 4 parking lots on the west side to EV charging stations. The gas station will contain an easement for public art for the DDA with a location to be determined during the site plan review. If the we also like to add, so if the PDD amendment is approved, the applicant must submit a detailed site plan application for Planning Commission and Township Board review. Let me see, I just want to see what's at the top. So, Dave, do you want to add anything to this?
There's nothing I want to add at this time, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay, the applicant is here. Would you like to add anything?
Briefly, first, a point of personal privilege. At 12 years old, I was on the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council in the city of Westland, and I want to encourage each of you. From there, I ended up on Capitol Hill at the White House, back here with the Mayor of Detroit and Wayne County. So where you're starting is a great place to learn because you are closest to what the concerns of residents are, and don't ever forget, as you get to go to higher places. I've had former governors, now energy secretaries, were my assistants and things like that. So you'll get to know a lot of people. Keep close to the people you get to know because you never know where they're going to end up. So I just want to commend this board for what you're doing with them and encourage you to really make the most of your opportunity. So
Thank you.
Thank you. And then on the item, I just want to thank the township and particularly the township's leadership on the encouragement of the electrical vehicle charging spaces as we're moving forward this. I think I understand the comments you heard earlier, but I think it also represents and certainly demonstrates the importance of this potential facility to hundreds of Canton's families that already signed petitions supporting this as to the ability to have less expensive fuel, particularly in these times. So if there are any questions about the proposal itself or anything, I'm glad to answer them. Otherwise, we're thankful for your time and attention.
Thank you. I'd like to take a little leeway here and just go over some things that we've learned over the last couple of weeks. So we have a data company that, you can stay up there if you like.
Okay, thank you.
We have a data company that we work with, and I came up with some facts. Just a couple things. So as some of the owners have said, gas stations are declining across the United States for several reasons. Vehicles are becoming more economically efficient, so they're using less gas, and also electric vehicles are coming. We can see that GM and EVgo are adding 2,700 new fast charging stations across the U.S. by 2025. And of course, with the Volkswagen diesel scandal, we're seeing more and more that are going to start appearing across 94 and 275. Ford is actually even proposing 40 EVs by 2025, and we're going to start seeing more and more models by the middle of this decade, 2025 here. So in 1994, there were 202,800 gas stations. From then to 2012, there was a decline of 23%, and another 26% decline by 2020. Basically, they're forecasting there's going to be a 30% decline quickly with gas stations happening right now. Gas stations, obviously, they put pollutants into the air, so there's always a concern about that. But we work with a data company, and they came up with some of the facts here about Canton residents. So, I mean, it's pretty well known why BJ's wants to put a gas station here, but just listen to some of this. So Canton residents purchase approximately $189 million in gasoline each year. And this is nearly 10% of the total household expenditures. So the data also indicate that the current demand has created a leakage of about $118 million. That means $118 million of gas purchases are outside of Canton. So Canton residents travel outside of Canton to get gasoline, cheaper gas. They go to Costco, and Livonia has a site, Northville has a site, Ann Arbor has a site. So residents are making these purchases outside. So there's a lot of money still to be made in gasoline. We know this is why you're before us. However, The Energy Association reports that demand will stagnate from 2023 and even decline at the end of the forecast period. At this stage, oil demand will not completely recover from COVID, and therefore it's anticipated that oil demand will never return to 2019 levels. This just, to me, accents why we need electric vehicle chargers. And that doesn't just mean, we know that a lot of stores right now have level 2 chargers. They're putting in level 2 chargers, which will charge a vehicle. Most of the common electric vehicles, 4 to 6 hours. I just want to let you know my background. I was in charge of 600 vehicle chargers at Ford Motor Company for many years, so I understand what's coming down the pike. These DC fast chargers will charge a car in 30 minutes, 80%. And so I'd like to add to this. In my opinion, we not only need to add the ART easement and that we're going to have electric vehicle chargers, but I think we need to add DC fast chargers at the pumps, near the pumps where you're putting them. Now, currently the state's going to put a DC fast charger at Ford and Hagerty. That's part of the Volkswagen diesel scandal. But as part of this agreement, I would like to add 2 DC fast chargers at the pumps.
We're not able to commit to that right now. As it was asked, we were first made aware of this on Thursday, and we've checked into it. But even then, we have to first get some work done in terms of understanding what the capacity is. But the practical issue for us is understanding exactly what we're capable of doing. And so we've made the commitment to provide 4, and we can commit to the level 2 chargers, but we can't commit beyond that. I'm actually working on behalf of the world's largest real estate developer and does the most environmentally sustainable kind of work, New York, Detroit, Miami, and others, and working directly with DTE. And we're running into many instances where there are desires to put level 3s in, and we're having challenges around that as well. As it relates, but I understand the desire of a rapid charger over a regular charger. The fact is, though, in terms of if we were a location, off the freeway in a more rural area where someone could actually be totally away and low on charging and needing that level of charging in that quick amount of time, I'd understand maybe some of that, but the fact is we're never going to be more than 20 miles from somebody's home as it relates to where they are, where they could be coming to us. So I'm not sure that there was a demand for the rapid charger per se, but even if there were, BJ's has not been able to do level 3 charges anywhere in the country, and we're not able to commit to that here. We can commit to the level 2 as we've indicated. So.
Well, you're going to be 20 miles away because Canton residents are going to be using it. You even came to us, to the Planning Commission and said that 700 residents, which go to BJ's, are asking for gas stations. That means that you have Canton residents. So
and I agree. And my point is, though, in terms of the value of a rapid charger versus the other charger you referenced of 5 to 6 hours, I don't doubt we're going to have some people show up with the desire to add some charge to their vehicle and do that, but I doubt we'll have many people show up who are near E, who are that far from their own charger that they already have, where the rapid charger would make that much difference in the quality of life. That's just speaking as a Canton resident, I'm part of that leakage. I haven't bought fuel in Canton for years, and so I think we're excited about the chance of having less expensive fuel. But as it relates to the level 3 charges, we're just not able to make that commitment. We've had a few days to look into it. They haven't been able to do it anywhere. I don't want to put it on the record that we can commit to it and turn out that we can't do it. So we're able to commit to level 2 as far as we know at this point.
Well, right now you're going to be starting from scratch because you're looking at a parcel of land that's not there, and you're going to have to pull electrical transformers in there anyways to run the pumps. So to add to these chargers, you just need to bring in another 480-volt service.
I understand. As a practical matter, you understand it. You've worked in this field and whatever. This is a bigger issue for BJ's as it relates to this site, what they can do and where they are. They are not able to commit to it at this time.
So what would it take for you to commit to it? How much time for you to look into this?
It's not, who knows in terms of what they're going to have to do in terms of the research of the site. I don't think there's desire on BJ's part at this point to go beyond the level 2 because this is what they provided and found very satisfactory to all the customers around the country. So.
Okay, but I don't agree. I think we need to add this. I think we're going to have more and more, but I don't think BJ's is that far off the highway to not say that the residents don't need that. There is one that's going in, a couple more on Michigan Avenue, and another one, I think AAA had one. I don't know what the status of that is right now.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this was raised with us last week. We agreed to the 4 EV spaces, and then subsequent said, I hope we can talk about level 3, and we said, we'll look into it, but we don't know. And that literally, we're at the point where it's a larger entity, we have to look into it, and there's no decision been made at this point. But the desire is to be able to commit to level 2 chargers, and that's where we're able to do.
Okay, but I will ask the board what they think, but I think that we need to have a commitment for level 3 also. And it might take that you might have to say, I'll come back next week and give a response to this, but I'd like to push for level 3 also, right at the pumps.
I appreciate that, but I also, quite frankly, I mean, we have hundreds of residents and families who are waiting to get this approval as it relates to the fuel site, and I understand the supervisor's desire, your experience, but quite frankly, I don't know that a week is going to change BJ's position on this.
So there's no reason, right now, when you look at removing gas stations, it's $235,000 right now to mitigate a gas station. You're pulling tanks out of the ground and maybe some contamination. So what are you saying you would do in 5 years, let's say gasoline took a 30% decline, or 10 years?
So while I don't doubt that gasoline will decline as EVs increase, I do believe that there will always be demand for less expensive fuel, particularly as we're seeing it in the rates now. So BJ's is very comfortable in the fact that the fueling station they intend to provide will survive longer than other stations in this process, and certainly more than 10 or 15 years.
It's less expensive to pull the power to that site right now versus in 10 years from now, if you have the transformers there.
I understand that, and their position is they're willing to commit to level 2 chargers, and that's where we are.
Okay, well, I stand that we need level 3s. Are there comments from the board? Kate?
Yes, so I drive an EV, and I do have a level 2 charger in my own garage. That being said, if there were opportunities in the community to use a level 3 charger, I would take them, because I pulled some statistics from my own charger. This is a level 2 charger. On Sunday, it took 1 hour and 50 minutes to add 19 miles. If I could add 80% of my total charge in 18 to 30 minutes, I would be thrilled with that. On September 14th, it took 3 hours and 15 minutes to add 42 miles. So if there's a level 2 charger at BJ's, I won't use it, because it's not going to help me any. I can use the same thing in my own garage. So that's my comment on that. I am wondering if you can provide any information on the gasoline storage tanks and how they are able to keep the gasoline from getting into the environment.
I don't have that. I can tell you that the tanks that are used and the design of this is all heavily regulated, not only by the Michigan Department of Environmental, Eagle itself and others. They are all pre-approved, and only certain types of tanks can be used, and the installation is followed very closely. And they are designed in a way to prevent those kinds of things. And so, and I think even the other operators who aren't in support of this project per se will tell you, I mean, that's particularly the more modern equipment has become, the better it's become. So we have to meet national standards as it relates to that.
Sure.
And so those national standards actually, cover
It's
that.
understood. I, not being someone in the business, I don't know all of the regulations and all of that. I am concerned because there is a holding pond just to the east of BJ's. So there's water over there. So want to be sure that we're not going to have any issues with that.
Yeah, these facilities and the tanks are all designed not only to hold the fuel, but to also have structures around them to capture if anything, and if something were to leak, there are air alarms and things that go off, so there's actually very, very secure in regard to that. I think we're from the pond that's east of the store, we're probably 400 to 600 feet from that pond, but nonetheless, if some fluid moves a foot from the tank, we're going to find out through the systems that are built into these tanks. We don't, even though they're designed not to allow any leakage, they actually have double liners and other mechanisms around them. So.
Okay, thank you.
First, I wanted to start out by addressing the community and business members that spoke. I feel for you, I feel for your families. It's difficult, especially coming out of the pandemic. The world, unfortunately, is changing. It's been changing the last 10 to 15 years. Some ways in very good ways, some ways in not so good ways. And it's going to continue to change. In the next 10 years, it's not going to get any better, the situation. And in some ways, it's better for the environment. I'm not totally convinced it's better in all ways for the environment, but, you know, 15 years ago, if you had walked around 12 Oaks Mall and said, all this is probably going to go away in the next few years, you wouldn't have believed me, maybe 20 years. And it's gone away. I mean, basically, the malls are a dying breed. In fact, they're the ones that replaced Main Street USA. So 40 years ago, if you had said downtown Birmingham was going to be struggling, or, you know, you wouldn't have believed me either. So, I mean, I have little or no advice for you in terms of your business. You know it better than I do. But in any industry, I'd be looking at what the future is holding and try to convert to what you think the future is going to hold. As for this particular project, Mr. Amon, can you come back up? I have some questions for you. I read in the minutes from the Planning Commission that there was a road associated with BJ's and that was going to be finished, an access road.
The access road, yes.
And do you have any update on when that's going to be finished, or do we know? I mean, I've ridden on it. I haven't ridden on it in the last month, but in previous years, it was like it had been bombed. I mean, it was in terrible
I know.
shape.
So I know it's, in fact, it's supposed to be done essentially any moment. They've done some prep work to get it there, but it's actually before the winter season hits us. It's supposed to be done here.
Okay.
So
I mean,
that tells me by November 15th, because that's when, you know, everyone heads off to hunting.
Yeah. Okay, because it makes me nervous to approve anything when something like that has been hanging out there for so long. It's been that way for almost all summer, basically. It's a terrible road to drive on, so I'm surprised there haven't been any, in some ways, lawsuits, because it's worse than some of the roads in Michigan, the regular roads. I am a little distressed that this will be removing trees in our community. It's an area where it's kind of nice to see the trees around the businesses there. I don't know if all of them will be gone. David, I don't know if you know if all of them. I know Patrick might be on the line.
I think Patrick might be on, but
I can tell you that.
Okay.
Yeah, so essentially the western 25 feet of the site is covered by trees and whatever, that's being left intact. So along the length of the site, so there'll be a stand of trees in there and obviously managed and maintained to make sure they survive, so.
Okay, so it'll kind of separate it from anything to the west?
Correct.
Okay, do you know, is there going to be any type of, I don't know what types of trees are in there, if will a study be done to see if there will be any tree bank money that will change hands here? Or?
I haven't seen the survey myself. It's my understanding as we get to the site plan, there'll be a more specific determination on that, but we will be adding some trees as it relates to the landscaped areas as well. But I haven't seen anything so far in the preliminary site plan conversation around that.
Okay.
As we get to the final site plan, obviously we'll get to the specifics on that.
Okay,
So.
appreciate that. One thing I read in the agreement, I think it was that there would be no restrooms for the public. Is it meant that they are supposed to go into BJ's to use the restroom, or how's
Yeah, the fueling station is for members only, and while non-members can access the store for purposes, so if there's a need for a restroom, then they'll use the restrooms at the store.
So they'll be directed to the store, okay. I guess that makes sense. Okay, so finally, on the charging stations. You know, it feels to me like using a level 2 EV, I mean, maybe it's just for emergencies, but it's like filling your gas tank with a medicine dropper. I mean, it's something that takes 10 minutes just to get a mile or even more into your charging, and it doesn't seem sufficient to me. I mean, I think a firm like BJ's, and I would appreciate it if we can, even if we delayed this vote for 2 weeks and you got back information, would have the foresight to see the industry and what's going on and how important level 3 charging, I don't know the difference between a Tesla and other charging stations, but that you know, there are times when I go for gas and I drive 1.5 miles down the road at an exit to get to a specific gas station, one that maybe I'm using or I'm familiar with, and I think they would drive this far to use a charging station off the highway. It's not that far off the highway. And so I'm almost adamant that we need level 3 charging stations in our community, and I think this is a great opportunity, not just for us, but I think BJ's, it would be worth their while. It would bring people to the store that are members, you know, because they're going to charge their car there. So that's just my opinion. Honestly, I personally think I can't vote for it until I see at least one of the charging stations being a level 3, and I'd prefer and recommend that they do even more to at least, whether it's at the gas station, which makes sense to me because I think eventually you're going to want more there over the years, or at the store. It doesn't make that much of a difference to me, but it's important to me to get that answer, that we're not just agreeing to this PDD change without that in there. So.
If I can just address one thing, the proposed location of the EV charging stations would be west of the store itself, between Lowe's and the building. They can pull the electricity out of the store is the thinking, the preliminary thinking on that, number one. But number two, it's also closer to the store so that people would want to park while shopping, go in, you know, they can go and do shopping. But the stations would be available to the public, not just members only. So for those
and that I mean, if there were a couple level 3 there as well, and that's where they were located, I could live with that. I would is what I'm saying. I don't know if it makes sense business-wise for them to be at the gas station. I feel like at some point, gas stations may have to make a decision to start adding these things, and I don't know what the oil companies and how your relationships with the oil companies are, but to me, all gas stations should be adding charging stations if they have foresight. So
I'll just offer one person's opinion who's been involved with this for a few years.
Right.
As in the your municipal services department did a particular review as it relates to our traffic study, which also involved the stacking that is required for each of the current pump spaces so that we have sufficient stacking so cars don't go out where they're not supposed to be. And so the space around the fueling station itself, and even for the other operators, it's pretty careful. It's like a choreographed dance,
yeah.
generally. And so generally, and because of even a level 3 charger, which would take, you know, whatever time it takes to charge, it would totally mess up the site, the flow of the site, to have some vehicle sitting there for 10, 20, 30 minutes versus, you know, what they give you, the 3 or 8 minutes, whatever you do normally to charge. So that's why we think it's also probably, in light of our conversation, better to have it in a place that's convenient for them. That if they want to go to Lowe's, they'll be able to go to Lowe's. If they want to go to, the BJ's, they can do that as well. But we try to have it in a more convenient location.
Yeah, like I said, if that's where it is, I just think in 10 years, there'll probably be some kind of change being requested to put EV at
Maybe.
But, you know, I mean, we've seen a lot. We both have gray hair, so.
Yeah.
But,
earned every one of them.
Yeah. So if it was at the store, I'd at least feel comfortable that we had some level 3 chargers there. So that's just my opinion.
Thanks. Kate, I'm sorry.
Does anybody on the other side want to speak? Because I already asked. But I want to go back.
I have a question. When was the last time we built a new gas station in Canton Township? Do we know that answer? Like a brand-new one?
Yeah, I'm not aware of that at this time. I can get you the information.
I can't,
I'm going to promote
I can't-
Patrick.
I mean, maybe Patrick would know, I don't know. Maybe 2000? Someone tonight said, you know, they.
I'm sorry, I was talking to
The
Bill.
last
I have Bill
time-
Zanoni, the real estate director from BJ's here, along with Mark Lavoy, the project manager, and I want to update you on a conversation I just had with them. But go ahead, what was the question, I'm sorry?
I mean, you might not know, you actually might know the answer. When was the last time we built a brand-new gas station in Canton Township? Like, not a redevelopment of a gas station, but a brand-new gas station as a use? Because I can't remember one being done since I've lived in Canton.
Patrick, do you have that information?
moved here in
You've been
2002.
promoted. Patrick?
Yeah, I don't have that information when a new gas station has been built. We've had inquiries from gas stations in different areas of the township, but there are a lot of different reasons why those haven't gone forward for new gas stations. So we've had some gas stations recently, our prospective gas station owners look at sites in the township, but I don't know when the last time a new one was built.
I do know, actually, it's just, okay, I'm old, I remember, but sometimes it takes me a while to remember. It was actually the 7-Eleven gas station down on Michigan Avenue in Canton Center and the Burger King gas station, that used to be a Burger King gas station across the street from it, back when the Premier Center was built in the Home Depot and the Kroger. So that was like 2003 and 4.
Okay. Because, I mean, I don't know much about vehicle chargers, and I don't know much about all that. But I do know that Canton's population has increased by 20,000 people since that gas station was built, and I think that's probably the reason why we've permitted like 4 brand-new car washes in Canton Township, and we're all like, wow, how is there a use for all these car washes? And we're gonna have the cleanest, I mean, I've heard all the jokes, we're gonna have the cleanest cars in Michigan. But clearly, these business owners believe they can make money washing all of these new vehicles that are coming to Canton with the 500 homes we build every single year. So I need gas to drive, and I drive to Livonia for my gas. I get it from Costco, and I'm in support of this because I'm in support of the unanimous decision by the Planning Commission, which is consistent with the plan development. And it's pretty simple. I was kind of in favor of it from the beginning, and then I walked out and just asked my staff. And anecdotal evidence is always interesting, but I just asked my staff. I said, "BJ's gas station. What do y'all think? You know, it's on social media. What do you think?" And every single person, all 8 people in my office were like, yeah, cheaper gas. And then I walked over to the treasurer's department and I asked all the staff, and every single one of them to a person said, yeah, cheaper gas. Gas is currently $4.50 a gallon in Michigan. It is the most expensive it's been in the last couple of months. Not the most expensive it's been this year, though. And it's probably not the most expensive it's going to be in our lifetimes. And you know, I don't know much. I mean, I think I'm excited to hear that there's a semi-compromise reached on vehicle chargers, and I would be mindful that we kind of keep in mind how expensive gasoline is right now, and the fact that this was a unanimous decision by the Planning Commission, and that's just my opinion. And there's, as I said, 20,000 new people since the last time we built a gas station in Canton Township. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of cars.
Yep, we're seeing car washes increase, but car washes will wash both electric and regular cars. So I think that stands to reason. But also another thing is that
I mean,
I think
I'm not, yeah.
No, I just want to make a comment I forgot to say is that right now, I'm not against BJ's. I mean, I think we welcome BJ's to the neighborhood. I think it's a great store. I'm not against even us considering more gas station pumps. However, I think we also need to future-proof Canton. We need to look into the future in terms of what is happening. We are in a very great transition area right now. And so in terms of just blindly going forward with more gas stations and not thinking about what is going to happen in the very near future, that's important for us to do also.
Since you said that after I spoke, I'll just say that I don't believe I'm doing that.
I didn't say you were. I'm just commenting something I forgot to say. Tanya or Kate, did you want to say anything?
I voted for this in the Planning Commission, and I still support it. I do hear from the community members, and I understand what you're saying. As Trustee Snyderman mentioned, the world is rapidly changing. I was somebody who used to drive every day to downtown Detroit for work, and now I work from home post-pandemic, so I'm not driving as often. But when I do drive, I notice that gas in Canton is much more expensive than it is in other cities. And so many members of my family go other places to get gas, and it would be great to be able to do so here at home. You know, This is a project, and I understand the controversy, and I'm all for sustainability, and I'm all for cleaning up the environment, and I think that is very important. But also, we are not going to get rid of gasoline in the next 5, 10, even 20 years. It's just going to be a fact of life, and it has to be something that's affordable to people because they need it to get to work, they need it to sustain their lifestyles. I know, I understand what the supervisor and trustee Borninski are saying with the rapid chargers, but I don't believe it's our role to make sure that people are able to charge their vehicle within a short period of time. We can get them from, to the gas station to a home somewhere. I agree with Mr. Amon about people who are stopping to get gas in Canton most likely are pretty local to Canton. And so I am in favor of this project, and I will be supportive of it.
Thanks. Tanya, did you say?
Yeah, so after hearing everybody, and, I have some opinions of my own, and I have, when this came into consideration this weekend, I went to a few gatherings over the weekend, and we were talking about it. Most of my friends, they shop for gas at Costco because that's where they, and then I personally, when I went, I drove to Lansing this week, so I needed to buy gas, and I noticed how the gas prices have gone up again. And I understand, I am for sustainability. I really want chargers, fast chargers, and that is what I believe is the future. And I understand the business people who spoke in the beginning, but things are changing, and but at the same time, a regular person in Canton who has to drive, I probably have the privilege of working from home 3 days a week, but there are people in Canton who have to drive to work every day, and probably they are driving to nearby cities. Sometimes they're even driving to Detroit. Sometimes they're driving to Ann Arbor and Lansing, and they are looking for cheaper gas. And it would be good to have another gas station. And as Michael said, that it is. The population of Canton has increased considerably since we built the last gas station. But at the same time, I also think that, whether small gas station owners cannot affect change, but a company like BJ's can affect change. And it would be nice that if you can do some study in the future site plan about having a level 3 charging station, as we are constantly moving towards the future. Yes, we are in a gray area, and I am still waiting for more charging stations in and around Michigan to buy my first electric vehicle. But not everybody in this community has, is buying an electric vehicle right now, or maybe can't afford to buy an electric vehicle, and they need cheaper gas. So there is a lot of discussion that happened in the boat today, and I understand the needs for the community for have a gas station, but I also understand that a company like BJ's can do some sort of a study. So if you can, in the future site plan, do some sort of a study, we would really appreciate that, and give us some information on that.
Thank you. I'll tell you, you can appreciate the way you stated. A company like BJ's is always looking at every service it provides to how to improve it. And so it's not that level 3 is new to BJ's. They've been looking at it and they are studying it. They're just not in the position to commit to it at this time. I will note that I understand the desire to have a quick charger, faster charger, but I have to say, in terms of if you actually are a Canton resident and you own an electric vehicle, I can't believe that although I understand you'd like to go to a level 3 charger because it's quicker than the one you have at home, it's a service that really would be for people who are from outside of Canton, because if you're in this area, you probably have some level of charge, and if you can get 19 miles and whatever, you can get home, because we're only 6 by 6, whereas 36 square miles is a township. So I understand the supervisor's desire to try to get them to the future quicker, but I have to suggest that it's not a desire that's going to serve the residents of Canton Township. It would serve outsiders. And I think what's before the residents of Canton Township is the less expensive gas. We've been held hostage to high gas too long, and I think this board has a chance to do something about that.
Okay.
Sorry, back to me again. So, just to your last comment, Mr. Amon, I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. I think that we can do something about cheaper gas and also something about EV chargers, especially level 3 ones. You know how I feel about those already. So just, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think that there's the possibility to do both. My question for you is, when you're talking about the charging stations being put in on the west side of the building, is that a parking lot also, or is that just an exclusive area for EV chargers?
No, it would be part of, we would be taking current parking spaces and repurposing them. It would probably actually, we take 5 spaces or 6 spaces to do 4 EV charging spaces, and they would be open to the public, fully accessible, as part of an existing parking lot, lit area off of where the tire center is, so it's very active and very, very involved.
Yeah, and I do appreciate your, BJ's willingness to look into charging stations. Again, I'm pushing for the level 3, not necessarily for all of them. And I completely understand the traffic situation at the pumps, but I will just put this out there that something that EV drivers find is an issue is that sometimes people will just park in those EV charging spots just as if they were a parking spot. And so when they come to try to charge, they can't. So that's an issue. And I don't know what we can do about it. I would love for them to be at the pumps, but as you said, then that creates a stacking issue. So that's understood. I also don't want everyone to think that I'm anti-gas. We have 5 cars at my house because all 3 of my kids live with me and my husband too. So we have five people at my house. All of my kids are adults, 5 cars. My daughter drives to Flint for work. I'm the only one with an EV, so she's buying gas. My younger son goes to school in Dearborn, and occasionally I have to drive him, and I have noticed that gas in Dearborn is cheaper than it is in Canton, unfortunately. And so, it's tempting to go buy it there. We usually do buy gas in Canton, though. So all of that being said, I have a couple questions, not for you, Mr. Amon.
Okay.
But one is, do we have a moratorium on building gas stations in Canton? Because I didn't think we did, but I heard a comment about that tonight.
No, and Patrick, if you want to speak to that, or Dave?
Yeah, there's no moratorium on gas stations in the township or reviewing any gas station applications.
Thank you. And then my other question is more for the board, and I'm wondering if we can look into creating maybe some policy around EV charging stations to help our gas station owners maybe think about changing over an area for EV chargers. Just something to think about. It's not going to make a difference today, unfortunately, but something that we could work on.
If I may offer, I would, as a resident and an attorney who does land use, I would encourage the township to consider the process of amending its zoning amendment and in the site plan, in the site development standard section, just like where you have X number of parking spaces, Y number of whatever, certainly within your power and appropriate to say, by the way, if you're going to be a commercial business or an office or whatever the kind, you may want to grade the number of spaces you want to build. And that way, an applicant has the prospective knowledge of saying, coming in, hey, we have to plan for this and design for this. And so I would encourage that.
Something?
Yeah.
You had a question?
Hi,
Okay.
guys.
Thank you,
Thanks for
group.
staying.
Thanks, group.
Yeah, so I'm also not against, as I said at the beginning, not against this project and having it to lower gas. I think it's the way of the future. And I should also state, I don't belong to Costco. I don't know if Sam Club has them or any of the others. I'm an empty nester. Probably won't even be joining BJ's Warehouse, to be honest. But doesn't mean that I don't want it in the community for lower competition and lowering the gas prices. To your comment about for the people, may not be for the residents of Canton, I don't know, Kate, if you find this, but my friend who's a doctor at St. Joe's and owns a Tesla, he comes home late at night and charges for a bit, but at times he doesn't even have enough power to get back to St. Joe's Hospital from us, so he looks for those level 3 stations, and he goes to them. Some of them, I'm not sure if we have one in Canton yet, but he has to go to other communities for the level 3 station to be able to charge up in 20 or 30 minutes. So in the morning, he can get to the hospital again. But I think about the other side of it is, yes, it could be for people outside our community, but imagine if Canton over the last 50 years didn't have any gas stations. Our businesses would probably be clamoring for gas stations to attract people to stop, to visit our restaurants, maybe our drugstores and other things. So there already is a network of these charging stations. We want to be a part of that. We need to be a part of that network. You know, the cars that I've ridden in, you know, you push a button and it shows you where the nearest one is. We want them to stop in Canton so they can visit our other businesses in our community. So, look, I don't sense that we have the desire to delay this, but you'd make me really happy if I approve it tonight, that in the next stages, you come back and say, we looked at it and we can do it. We can add the level 3 chargers to the side of the building. It wouldn't matter to me, so.
I appreciate that. We have committed to the 4, that we know that we can do level 2, and we're always studying that, and BJ's will study that. We will be back on a final site plan for the details of that, so.
Okay.
I don't think that, like Kate said, that it's mutually exclusive. We can have both gas and electric vehicle chargers. I don't think that's, we're saying.
No, none of us are,
that at all.
I think everybody agrees, obviously, the mix of vehicles are changing. And who knows, 10 years from now, we may be talking about something beyond electric. You know, you would know before most, I think. But so yeah, so no one views it as mutually exclusive. It's just, I think I know from what I'm dealing with on a site for the University of Michigan, right across from the DTE headquarters, as to how we're struggling with the challenges around what we can provide there as to the infrastructure and what it's going to draw from the electrical grid and what the grid's prepared to do at this time. And so, yeah.
We don't know what our struggles are without looking at them. I want to just say, I know that DTE has a lot of programs right now, and actually, because of where you are, I know that JCPenney's had to change over. You had to bring transformers in because JCPenney was a clothing store, and now you turned it into a grocery store, and transformers had to be brought in for the coolers and freezers and things like that. So I don't know what the bandwidth is that you have left there. However, you are going to be doing new construction, and so new construction is a time when you should put in conduits, when you should pull in more power than you need for futuristic. And I think it's really important to do that. But also, I think the last time I spoke to Rob Kramer and John Zelinas about 6 months ago, they said we had about almost 300 permits in garages for people pulling this extra service for electric vehicles. So that tells you that we do have a lot of electric vehicles in Canton. That doesn't include the ones that didn't pull permits and added the service, because we know that's what, you know, that's usually a percentage also. Yeah, I know. We know that happens. But, so I'm just saying that we do have it in Canton. That's not unusual, and I think we can do both, and I really think we need to still study this right now. Michael?
I understand that Municipal Services Division was tasked with coming up with an electric vehicle charger plan for the township. Are we done with that plan?
Yes, we have,
That's our October 18th study session.
yep.
Okay, but we haven't reviewed that as a board yet.
No.
So we're not applying those standards or best practices towards this planning decision tonight, right?
No,
Nothing in this plan that would
Not
indicate
related,
that we
no.
need a level 2 or a level 3, or that they should be on the Newman parcel? This is
we're looking at level 2s. At this point, we're looking at level 2s.
On township properties.
Just township
The
property.
plan is just for township property.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a plan when we do the CIP improvement to the parking lot out back to put in
Yes.
a charger?
Yes.
I know there's a CIP plan at, what's the Independence, no, what is it? The Canton Sports Center, which apparently has 340,000 unique visits. More people than visit the Summit or Liberty Fest, for that matter, in Canton Township. It's the busiest site in Canton Township. Are we going to put a vehicle charger there? Do we have plans to
Yes.
fund that?
Have you seen the final plan that they're going to propose to us? Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
That's good. That's exciting. But yeah, I think, I love, no offense, I love extracting a pound of flesh from capitalists as much as I can when they come before us to make money. And I like that we're willing to go in that direction as well. I would just ask if we're going to commingle planning decisions with, I guess, public benefits and discussions like this, it would be helpful to have some type of consistent document to work off of, because it does feel, it feels like I came in tonight not really understanding what to expect. Plan to have a conversation about a gas station, and we're having a substantial conversation about vehicle chargers. And I can only imagine that would be very frustrating for applicants coming before this body. Specifically, if you kind of sail through a planning commission meeting and it doesn't necessarily come up and you get a unanimous decision and you kind of come to the board. I would have spent a lot of more time learning about electric vehicles prior to this meeting had I known that this was the direction.
Did I hear it correct that you were planning level 2 for the township buildings? Is it?
Correct, yes.
And I would say, by the way, I understand the desire for level 3 because of the value of them in terms of the impact, how quickly. But I also know that DTE and Consumers Energy, their incentive programs all now are all around the level 2. I haven't even advised BJ's of this yet, whatever. I don't know that it matters to commercial, but to residential and others, they're trying to get the rollout of level 2s, and they offer rebates and all kinds of incentives on that as well. So it's probably a smarter planning decision for now, but obviously. So.
Well, I would like to offer to the board a decision. Just right now, we know that October 18th, we're going to be doing the study session, and they're going to be giving us more input on plans around township administration properties. But also, Stephen, you had mentioned earlier, because we know that we haven't worked with DTE, and this is all new construction. And this would be the time to bring in more transformers. Again, this does not stop the gas station, but it does look at doing both, because they're not mutually exclusive, as was mentioned, that we can put off this till the 25th, until after that presentation, when we see some more work from DTE and information on what can be done there, what transformers are there, what power is there. It's right by Ford Road, so there's a lot of electrical power there. We also know Ford Road's going to be redone, so they're going to be pulling more power also. So I would like to make that proposal to the board, that we wait a couple weeks on this one and do some more studying. Are any objections to that?
I guess my question would be, what do you expect to change? The applicant said that they couldn't go to level 3s. So I guess my question is, why?
Well, because I think we should do both. I think this is a good time to do both. Because we're going to have, it's like when the ground is open, do what you can. And this is a time to put in everything that we can to make sure that we are not only bringing in less expensive gas, but also preparing for the future.
But it's not our parcel of property, so we can't put in a level 3.
No, we're asking them to, correct. And they say they have not studied whether they can do that or not to find out what power is in the area. It's a 480-volt service that you have to pull in. And they did pull some in recently with the new chillers that they had put in.
I'll clarify. We haven't done a detailed study on this site. We do know that based on the current plan, that in the preliminary plan, we're able to electrify the fueling station from the transformers that are within the store, so we don't have to do new transformers there. That's already been determined in terms of the early mechanical work. The bigger decision, obviously BJ's is a national company, so when they make a decision with one, they have to make decisions that relates to a lot of things in a lot of other locations. And so their decision is much bigger than it as it relates to one location, and they've committed and done level 2 in other locations, so we can make that commitment tonight. And we, as you're aware, we had over 700 people sign petitions. Many of them wanted to be here, and we encouraged them not to overwhelm the board meeting with all these residents tonight. And so we would really prefer to see, as soon as we can get this determined, we would prefer to do that. I understand the township has its own plans and its own process, but as the clerks pointed out, this is a planning decision based on the elements of your ordinance that we've been reported that we've met. So we would really appreciate that decision. And then as we work through the site plan process, we're going to continue to work through BJ's process to see what they can do, because if they do something here, they're going to be in a position to have to do it in a lot of other stores, because this obviously is a decision that affects their entire operation.
I think I looked on the website, I think I saw 2 BJs having level 2s, and so you guys have been doing level 2, so
Right.
you can look at putting
Right.
in, this would be like the next
That's why,
step.
so we know what we can do, and we know what we're able to do based on the current poll. Yeah.
Madam President, I think we've expressed our desires tonight pretty eloquently and in detail. I think my hope is that BJ's wants to be a good partner to this community, and that we, as partners, should give them a chance. To me, I would move forward with this without delay for 2 weeks, with them knowing that, we take a leap of faith. We need you to as well. There's future decisions to come in all of this, and I expect you guys to make good business decisions based not just on today but on the future. So to me, I can't have expressed it anymore, and whether or not, I don't think I'm gonna vote against having a gas station. I'm voting for you guys coming forward with a plan in the future for level 3 in the near future.
Kate?
So I agree with Stephen on that. And I just want to make one more little push. I will say, and this is for the township also, level 2 is the highest level that's really meant for residential. I don't think that we can even have level 3 chargers in our garages or at our homes. So we are relying on commercial establishments to provide those. So I just want to put that out there. But, that being said, I'm okay with going forward tonight.
The comments? Okay, so there's a motion on the floor there's a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. 1 nay. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is consider special land use for Blossom Behavioral Wellness Center.
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the following resolution. Approval of the special land use for Blossom Behavioral Wellness Center, whereas project sponsor has requested special land use for approval, land use approval for the following uses on the subject tax parcel: office, medical clinic, office, and laboratory, training and/or education center, and accessory childcare use. And whereas the Planning Commission reviewed the request and applicable criteria, voted 8-0 to recommend approval with conditions as the request meets the criteria of special land use approval in section 27.03, subsection C of the zoning ordinance, our favorite. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Canton, Michigan does hereby approve the special land use in planning application, subject to planning application for an office, medical clinic, office, and laboratory training and/or education center, and accessory childcare use on the subject tax parcel as the request meets the special land use criteria of the Canton Township zoning ordinance, subject to the following conditions. 1, a revised landscape plan is required in accordance with Article 5 of the zoning ordinance. A lighting plan must be revised to comply with Section 2.13 of the zoning ordinance. The signage must comply with Article 6A of the zoning ordinance and compliance with all state, county, and township requirements.
Support.
Motion made by Michael, supported by Summer. The project sponsor proposes to occupy part of the existing building at 39415 and 39453 Ford Road, which was previously occupied by Gardner White as a behavioral wellness center. Specifically, the site is located on the south side of Ford Road, east of Lots Road. The only other tenant currently in the building is Guitar Center. The Blossom Behavioral Wellness offers a multitude of therapy services to children. The site is in the Corporate Park Overlay District with an underlying zoning of C3 Regional Commercial. Based on the description of Blossom Behavioral Wellness, the proposed uses consist of the following, which are special land uses in the Corporate Park Overlay District. As at meetings on September 12th, the Planning Commission held a public hearing and recommended approval of the special land use subject to conditions. The applicant have stated their intent to meet the conditions. If the special land use is approved, the next step will be for the applicant to revise the plans according to the conditions and submit plans to the Building and Inspection Services Division for review prior to construction. Dave, do you want to add anything?
Nothing to add. Ready to answer questions.
Summer?
Nothing to add from the Planning Commission. I'll just say that I love that this space is being reused in this way.
Any other comments, questions? Kate?
Yeah, I think that we have a need for this kind of facility in our community. I know when my children were small, I had to go to Plymouth or to West Bloomfield to get similar services. So I think this is just, something that our families are going to really be happy with. I had a question, though. I saw in the special land use plan section, there was a reference to another company or another like there's Blossom Behavioral Wellness, and then there was something about Sky Health. Could anyone explain to me what that's referring to?
I can answer that one. Sky Health originally came in as part of the application as a co-tenant of the space with Blossom, and through the process, Sky Health was removed. I don't think they were planning to do medical offices there, so it'll just be Blossom occupying the space that they show on the plans.
Okay, thank you. That answered my question.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G3, consider first reading of an amendment to Appendix A zoning of the Code of Ordinances regarding Harvest Creek rezoning.
Madam Supervisor, I move to introduce and hold the first reading of the proposed amendment to Appendix A zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the Charter Township of Canton as provided in the attached ordinance of planning application, subject planning application, which rezones the subject tax parcels from RR rural residential to R3 single-family residential. The table for a second reading on October 25th, 2022.
Support.
Motion by Clerk Segris, supported by Trustee Snyderman. The applicant proposes to rezone those parcels as listed and located on the east side of Ridge Road between Payne Street and Proctor Road from RR to R3 single-family residential. The subject property is 7.1 acres and includes Lower River Rouge on the south side of the property. The applicant proposes to construct a detached single-family residential development on the north side of the site if rezoning is approved. If the rezoning is approved, the applicant will likely submit a development application, which will be reviewed by the Planning Commission and the Township Board at the time. Dave, do you want to add anything?
Nothing more to add. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments? Tanya?
Yeah, so I just was wondering, the section that we had of review considerations, there were a bunch of questions on like, is this the planner's office that answered these questions? Will the proposed amendment be in accordance with the basic intent and purpose of the zoning ordinance? And there were other questions in there.
Yeah, that's right out, those questions are right on the zoning ordinance, and Patrick's team answered those questions. Staff did, yeah.
Patrick, did you want to? Okay. Stephen?
Sure. Yeah. What David mentioned was correct. In our staff report, we put the question as it comes out of that section of the zoning ordinance, and there are 10 of them. And then after the question, we give the staff analysis on that.
Thanks. Stephen?
Yeah, I'm a little confused as to which site it is. I don't know, David, if you have the ability to put the map up there, but regardless, I'm looking at the site map, and there's RR and R3. Okay, but right here it says site. And so,
There's supposed to be an arrow pointing.
oh,
If you go to
okay.
page 144, you can see the highlighted box of the two subject tax parcels.
Yeah, that's what was confusing me. Okay, because yep. Okay, so.
Trustee Segrist is correct.
Yeah. So it's not, so, okay, I was kind of hoping it was the other site, because.
I
That's like a
understand.
creek, though. There's like no
Because,
setback.
yeah, because I don't understand, like, what's our plan here, Patrick and David? I mean, like, it's just a portion of a contiguous area, like, that goes up to Cherry Hill Village, but it doesn't go quite all the way. Is that, I'm trying to remember, is that the church up there or something? And at the north end? And then down at the corner, there's 2 lots down there, and those won't be developed? Are they part of a future land map kind of thing?
You can
that
share
could
if you
be?
want, Dave.
They just got bought,
Which got bought?
the two parcels you're talking about.
Down there? So are they going to be part of the same development or similar, or is there, that looks like a weird corner lot there. I mean, I'm sure it's very nice.
Cool
but-
lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've ridden my bike around this area, but I'm sorry, I'll shut up and let you guys talk.
You want to put it up, Dave?
Brian,
It won't work? I do have the, here. I might be able to do it.
Patrick has it, though.
I can do it.
And while we're working on that, the one parcel to the north is a single-family residence, and the 2 parcels to the south there along Proctor Road are also single-family detached residences. Of those 3 residences that are adjacent, I'm not aware of any plans to repurpose those or to do anything else other than what they are.
Okay. It doesn't seem big enough for developments, I guess, if in the future the homeowners chose to sell. So it kind of, I mean, it'd be a really small development, I guess, but. Yeah, there we go. And the resident to the north, I'm assuming was approached but declined to sell at this time, to be included. That is Cherry Hill Village, north of the site, right?
Yes.
That's correct. North of Payne Street is Cherry Hill Village, and then the very north side of Payne Street is not in the village. So if you go the very north side of Payne Street, that row of houses, and then go south, that's not Cherry Hill Village. Although it was the area to the east of this site. It's in R3 zoning. It was developed under the base density of R3. But the style of house that was approved for the development to the east was a Cherry Hill Village style. So it's the underlying zoning's density, but it's a Cherry Hill style house to blend with the village.
Was there any part of any future trail discussion that was supposed to go through this in terms of extending trails through neighborhoods and such?
Certainly down Ridge Road.
That would be sidewalk down, I don't know that there would, I mean, there is, I think it's to the north is the village, the woods of the village factory. But I don't remember the trail maps, the future trail maps, whether, I know from the R3, the part of Cherry Hill Village that you just mentioned, that's not really part of Cherry Hill Village, but uses the same zoning. There is a trail through there, but I think it's to the east of this.
East of
It's
there.
not on the map,
It would
yeah. Okay. All right, thank you.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Yeah, there you go, Greg. There you go, thanks. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of a budget amendment contract extension agreement for Fire Station 2 park design.
Madam Supervisor, I move to waive the bidding process and extend the contract with MCSA Group Incorporated at 529 Greenwood Avenue, Southeast Grand Rapids, Michigan, 49506 for the playground consulting services for an additional 3 years, and to approve the attached budget amendment, and to award a contract and approve a purchase order to MCSA Group Incorporated at 529 Greenwood Avenue, Southeast Grand Rapids, Michigan, 49506 for the engineering, design, and construction management of Fire Station 2 Park. A purchase order will be submitted in the amount of $80,228 to be paid from the subject account number for Parks Capital Outlay Land Improvements.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Snyderman. In August 2019, Canton Township and MCSA Group signed a 3-year contract with the option of a 3-year extension for playground consulting services. This contract has since expired as of August 2022. Over the last 3 years, MCSA Group has assisted the township with numerous playground designs, providing dependable, professional, quality services. Canton Leisure Services and MCSA Group mutually agreed to continue their agreement and are recommending to waive the bidding process and exercise a right to extend the current contract for an additional 3 years. Furthermore, the reconstruction of Fire Station 2 was designed with the intent of building a park adjacent to the building. Canton Leisure Services solicited proposals from 2 of Canton Township's consultants and partners for the engineering, design, and construction management of Fire 2 Park, with construction planned to begin in spring of 2023. Of the 2 proposals, MCSA provided the lowest cost in the amount of $80,228. Therefore, Canton Leisure Services is recommending to award the contract for the engineering, design of Fire Station 2 Park to MCSA Group for a proposed amount of $80,228. A budget amendment is necessary. Greg, do you want to add anything?
Certainly excited to get started on the construction of this new park, to add this to our park inventory in Canton Township. MCSA led the park design and construction of our latest park out at Copper Park. They did a fantastic job for us there, and we're looking forward to continuing our relationship and getting this park underway. So we have preliminary conceptual designs, but MCSA would take us through the full engineering and provide specific designs in terms of what playground equipment, what fitness equipment, trail designs, all those sorts of things prior to construction, and help us with the bidding and then managing the construction process as well.
Thanks. Yep, looking forward to this park. Any questions or comments? Michael?
Yeah, I was really satisfied with their work on Copper Park. It's a really cool, creative park. It's a pocket park, you know, and it's literally a pocket park. It's very small, but it really challenges what your brain thinks you can do with like a half acre or however much land is over on Coppernick Road. So, and I'm really excited about this park right next to Fire Station number 2. It would be really cool if the park design could incorporate that in the playground itself. Had there been talk about using the existing building for restrooms?
You have restrooms in this design, but currently it would be a separate facility from adding on to the fire building. But we're looking at both options for that, so,
But they're going to share a parking lot, right?
correct.
Yeah. I mean, if it just, I'm a big fan of kind of consolidating the infrastructure. We've had this conversation. I just worry about obligating ourselves to a substantial amount of future capital improvements, as we're currently doing a lot of capital improvements, but other ways, awesome.
Any other comments, question? Summer?
That I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to see what it looks like. It's a great project, and glad we are able to find the space to do it. More pocket parks. Let's do more.
This is the partnership with the county, right? Fire station number 2? No?
No, this is what they were going to, but then they moved to Cherry Hill Village.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate.
But we do have grants coming with our grant writer. Anyone else?
I just wanted to, agree with both Michael and Summer that, we needed more parks on at least north side of Ford Road. That's what I've been harping upon for the last few years. So I'm glad to see another pocket park there.
Kate?
Just want to say ditto.
Ditto, ditto.
Yep.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G6, consider approval of collective bargaining.
5.
Oh, G5.
5.
Consider approval of contract with Kickers of Canton for restaurant operations at the Canton Sports Center.
Madam Supervisor, I move to authorize a 5-year contract ending December of 2027 with Kickers of Canton LLC with a mutual option of an additional 60 months extension for restaurant operations at the Canton Sports Center, which includes a 12% monthly gross revenue within a minimum of $80,000 per year and an investment of $50,000 in capital over the length of the proposed agreement.
Support?
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Snyderman. On July 7, 2022, Canton Leisure Services advertised a request for proposal for professional management of food and beverage services for Canton Sports Center and Bar and Grill for a 3-week period, with only one submission. It was decided to extend the advertisement for an additional 2 weeks in efforts to offer an opportunity for more vendors to submit a proposal. In turn, after 5 weeks of advertising, only one proposal was received from the vendor, Kickers of Canton. The interview panel interviewed Kickers of Canton restaurant owner Pete Stojnovich, who presented his proposal and answered questions regarding his operations. Leisure Services recommending the award of a 5-year contract ending in December of 2027 with Kickers of Canton, with the mutual option of an additional 60 months extension for restaurant operations at the Canton Sports Center. This contract also includes a 12% monthly gross revenue with a minimum of $80,000 per year and $50,000 in capital improvements, including new outdoor patio furniture, upgrade to outdoor food tents to pavilion, gazebo, adding needed kitchen equipment, bar upgrades, and replacement of restaurant carpet. Director Holmberger, do you want to add anything?
The only thing I noticed, the change that we did not make in the board action and the actual motion, the contract, we removed the 60-month option for renewal. So this is just a 5-year term without the option for renewal.
I will, if Trustee Snyderman is comfortable, I will remove that from the motion that I made.
Yes.
Or, sorry?
No worries, that's my mistake on
Do it
the
again.
final. This was a previous RBA that we had submitted, and that did not get omitted from the final submission, so I apologize for that.
Anything else, Greg?
Just a 5-year term, but nothing further to add.
We had also met with them, in addition to what you're saying, what we wrote here, some of the background. We met with them and we had discussed, some of the drawbacks that they have at where they are right now. So we're looking at other ways to help them with advertising and bring in more business, maybe do some other nights like trivia night, things like that. And also we were pleased to find out that they do have banquets there. A lot of people don't know they do weddings there. So it holds that many people. So we're looking at signage, a lot of things like that. So hopefully some great business in the future. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion
I
say...
have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
I'm just wondering how long the previous contract was.
The previous contract was 5 years, I believe, with some 2-year extensions in there. So I think the previous, the contract was, it ended up being at least 7 years
Okay,
with the renewals.
okay. Just wondering about that. I appreciate that the manager there is willing to put in some improvements.
Yeah, each time that we've renewed his contract, he's done additional capital improvements to the facility.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G6, consider approval of collective bargaining agreement with Canton Township Command Officers Association for a term commencing January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the Charter Township of Canton and the Canton Township Command Officers Association with the term ending December 31, 2026, and authorize the Township Supervisor to sign on behalf of the Canton Township.
Support?
Made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Snyderman. The current collective bargaining agreement with the Canton Township Command Officers Association expires on December 31st, 2022. The parties have come to a tentative agreement on terms for a new 4-year agreement expiring on December 31st, 2026. Deputy Supervisor Hoover, do you want to add anything?
No, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Chad, do you want to add anything? Chief Chad?
The only thing I could add, I think, through the process, speaking on behalf of the labor unit that reports to me, the negotiating team in the township really garnered a lot of trust for each other. So that was a real positive process. So thank you.
Thanks. I'll add on to that. I know that I'm really proud of the negotiating teams on both sides. I mean, they've been negotiating for a couple months, and everybody did a really good job. And I think that it was a very calm, thoughtful process, and a lot of give and take. So I just want to name the teams, because I think everybody did a great job. So we have Mike Kennedy, Joseph Biley, Andrew Coulthurst, Dave Isle, Joe Halver, Wendy Trumbull, Brandon, and Chief Chad, and Rochelle also gave input. So I think I'm really proud of everything that you did. You guys did a great job, and I think it passed by 100%. So good job, everybody. Does anyone want to add anything? Okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G7, consideration of settlement in Gregory Douglas Hunter versus Canton Township et al.
Madam Supervisor, in the matter of Gregory Hunter v. Canton Township et al., I move to approve the proposed settlement agreement and authorize the Township Supervisor to sign any documents necessary to resolve this pending lawsuit on behalf of Canton Township.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Borninski. The summary is contained in the confidential memo sent to each board member. Deputy Supervisor Hoover, do you want to add anything?
No, I do not.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comment. Public comment for 3 minutes. Okay, so this is public comment for 3 minutes, and please state your name and where you're from. And
Christine Wofford, Canton, Michigan. Just listening to number 7, what is the dollar amount in that settlement?
if you want, you can ask questions, and then we can get back to you with a response.
Okay. The other question is, we were at our Forest Brook Association meeting, and one of the board members would like to put up new park signs in our park. He's getting a quote that seems a little high, around $7,000. We were wondering, is there anybody that we can speak with in Canton that we may be able to piggyback on some kind of purchase contract that's upcoming for signs at all?
Okay, we can get back to you with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Who will get back?
I don't know if,
We'll follow up with it.
thank you, Dave. All right, thank you. Any other public comment? Come to the podium, please.
George Miller. I would like to address the issue on some fill, evidently, on Hannon Road. There's a closed dump there, and I'd like to know why it's reopened. Usually that doesn't work that way with the state. I'd like to know why they're not considering an erosion problem if they're going up 10, 20, 50 foot. You can't grow grass now in the spring. Everybody worries about the environment here so much. And the ditches over there, I'd like to know, or I'd like to see the workup on it, if they can handle a 100-year or a 500-year rain around there so there's no flooding like there's been in this township. The next issue, it's onward, never gets done. The ditches cleaned along Palmer Road and Sheldon Road. There's been flooding through in the last year, couple years that way. When are you going to get back to that? Or touch base with the county? And the next thing is Van Born Road from Canton Center, Belleville Road to Hannon Road. There's more trash along there than there is in the dump. And the water doesn't drain off, and it floods over there, and they have to shut down the road from time to time. And the drainage is terrible, and it's never been cleaned out alongside the road. Now, the next thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, the township bought a piece of property on Sheldon and Ford Road approximately a few weeks ago. Isn't that true? A lot there?
I'll get back to you.
Get back to me? I hope you do. Because since then, I'd like to know what the plan is since the township owns it. What's the 10-year plan for that? In the same way with the Munn dump. You bought it, there must be a plan for it. So I'd like to know the plan, since, especially in that lot. That's just recently in the last month. I could be wrong, but I believe the township owns it. The tax records will show it. I'd like to know what the plan is for that property since we own it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Do you want to go up? No? Okay. All right, so we have online, we have two people. Would you like to make public comment? Actually, Dave, you're one of them. Any public comment from Cheryl? Nope. Okay, great. Okay, great. Public comment's over. We'll start with board comment. Tanya, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, so I just wanted everyone to come over to the Celebration of Lights cultural event on Friday from 6 to 8 at the Heritage Park Amphitheater. We are going to have henna artists, and the event is free. We are going to have vendors, cultural performances. There'll be a live DJ. We've asked everyone, it's going to be probably in the 50s, so bring your blankets and chairs. And at the end of the night, there will be a small fireworks commemorating the Festival of Lights. So please come over, and also there will be a food vendor there, so you can also purchase food and enjoy the festivities.
Thanks. Summer?
Today is National Coming Out Day, and so I know for a lot of folks in the LGBTQ community, it is difficult to come out or not safe to come out. And I think as a township board and as a township, we've shown that we do what we can to make sure that our community is a little safer for those who are wanting to come out. So,
Michael?
We have the November election coming up soon. And I don't know what they're talking about. It's interesting. So the election, the absentee ballots have been mailed out to, at this point, 20,000 Canton residents, which is pretty good. That's the second highest that we've ever had issued. And we are preparing. We are getting them back at a decent rate. We're about 15% return rate, which is pretty good. It's above the state average, but not as good as some of the neighboring communities. So voters can help ensure we have timely election results on election night by submitting and returning their absentee ballot earlier and not waiting to election day. But that said, just make sure you sign the back of that envelope. We have some convenient drop boxes here at the township. There's one in the, a drive-up drop box that is ADA accessible in the parking lot, and we have 2 walk-up drop boxes, one up front and one attached to the rear of the building. So we're pretty excited about that. We are still recruiting election workers or election inspectors. His name, Chris is one of my election inspectors. And we are going to be doing training in the next 2 weeks. So the time is now if you are interested in getting involved and taking responsibility for your own democracy. Interesting questions that were asked during public comment tonight. I don't know if we're planning on addressing them or not, but I do think, if you're looking to talk to people about signs, Leisure Services is probably the person to talk to about signs, because we have them for parks, and I'm sure Greg would be willing to talk to you before he leaves. He's in the back corner, and so would Dave. And then on top of that, George had asked a lot of questions, but the parcel on Sheldon Road and Ford, that was an interesting situation where the township had acquired half of somebody's home on accident. They stopped paying their property taxes, and their house was on 2 parcels. And so through tax foreclosure, we owned half of the house that they were on. And the house was not structurally sound, so it was demolished. And in that process, we determined that I think we had a lot of discussions at the administrative level and talked about that being a difficult corner with the, it used to be the Grapevine Party store back in the day, and now it's a Pizza Hut. But if you try to get in and out of that parking lot, it's very dangerous. And if you try to go south on Sheldon Road, you got 3 or 4 lights to get through because there's a bottleneck there. And you can't really widen the road in the future if you ever wanted to. And you couldn't really solve the curb cut issue. Most, Ford Road has been told, it's been said to have been the most dangerous road. It's got 3 of the most dangerous intersections in Wayne County. And those are really because of fender benders, from people letting people in and out, or people going in and out of the too many curb cuts on and off of Ford Road. So in the future, if we ever want to clean up that intersection, which is one of the oldest commercial intersections in Canton history, there's a cool map in my office where you can see that intersection from the mid-'60s, and the BP gas station is still there, and the towers are there, and not the towers, but there's that. The apartments back there are there, and then that building is there. So a lot of our problem parcels are parcels that existed before 98,000 residents existed here. So in the future, if we ever want to close some of those curb cuts, we thought we might want to acquire some of that, the other half of that house that had just been demolished. And I think there's talk about potentially putting in a cool little community space right there for folks to make it more walkable and safe to access Ford Road. But I don't know. We haven't talked about that at the board level, so I don't think that there is a current formal plan because the Board of Trustees hasn't talked about it. But yeah, I think it's a cool opportunity for us. I think it was a smart move on behalf of the administration to get that parcel, because there was a dangerous building on there, and in the future, there probably will be a better commercial use, and in the meantime, there might be a cool community space. So we'll see.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is that our thoughts are with our treasurer, Diane Slavens. Her mother passed away last week, and many of us were able to attend the funeral. And her mother, Helen McCabe, lived a long and wonderful life. So our thoughts are with her, Diane and her family.
Kate?
Yes, what Stephen said, thoughts are with Diane and Mark and their family. I also wanted to wish our Canadian neighbors a happy Thanksgiving, which they celebrated yesterday.
Sorry, there was an oversight in the board packet creation and the agenda that we currently approved. If the Madam Supervisor would permit it, I would make a motion to both amend our agenda, so that will require 2/3 majority, adding an item to the agenda, and I will call it G8 for the purposes of continuity. And that would be to consider the authorization of a permit for a private fireworks display at the BAPS Hindu Temple. That motion would be, if I can get away with both of them, the motion would be to move to approve a private Monday, October 24th, 2022, on the vacant property located at 3339 South Canton Center Road, and that would be, I assume, a private fireworks display. It looks like that language might be missing from the resolution. But that would be my motion, to amend the agenda and add that item, and that is the motion.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Borninski. The BAPS Hindu Temple, located at 3175 South Canton Center Road, is requesting permit approval for a private fireworks display to take place at 8:30 p.m. on Monday, October 24th, 2022. The launch site will be on a vacant parcel of property adjacent to the BAPS Hindu Temple with an address of 3339 South Canton Center Road. The fireworks display vendor will be American Fireworks Company from Hudson, Ohio. The application has been reviewed by the fire marshal, who confirms compliance with all state and local requirements for the approval of this permit request. Does anyone have any questions on that? No? Kate?
Do we know how long that fireworks display is going to be, approximately? No. Dave says no.
Doesn't say the length of time.
Okay. And then my other question is, can we make sure that this is communicated to the community? Because I know there's people with dogs and veterans and other people that may need some advance notification of this.
Yes, that's a good idea. We can put that on Facebook and put that out there. Okay, thank you. Michael?
My understanding, this might not be our only Diwali-related fireworks request. Is that true? Is Glengarry still thinking about doing a fireworks display as well for Diwali?
We heard that, but we have not received a permit request yet.
Imagine we're running out of time with regards to meetings. So this may be the only private Diwali fireworks celebration.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. So we'll get back to board comments. Any other board comments after that? No? Okay, well, I think we have, just to let everybody know, we have something called the Pioneer Club, and they've been meeting, they're celebrating their 50th anniversary. So basically, they had the first meeting in 1972 in a Canton Township facility on Getty's Road, and in '96, they began hosting meetings at the Summit in the Park, and they're still meeting there today. So if anybody wants to see, they're going to be there on Friday, just to let everybody know that.
What is a Pioneer Club?
It's basically, it's a club to develop friendships and eliminate stress and loneliness. So they meet, and people just sit down and talk and bring coffee, and so they've been meeting for 50 years.
Is that Friday?
Yes, Friday, October 14th, at noon. At the Summit. And I just found out about this the other day. So they said, could you please let us know, recognize our 50th anniversary?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Take advantage of that stress reduction after driving at Ford and Sheldon. Sorry.
Anybody on the staff have anything to add?
I laughed.
Greg, what do we have at the Village on Thursday? Don't we have a fine arts evening? So we have the Diwali or Festival of Lights on Friday, and then we have the event on Thursday at the Village Theater. There's basically, it's an art show, and they're going to be jurying. They're talking about the jurors. We're going to introduce them. It's actually the LSAT committee, I think.
Yeah, they do that every year.
Yes.
28th Annual Canton Fine Arts Exhibition Awards Ceremony.
If anybody wants to come watch the awards ceremony, please join us.
On Thursday, what time? At the Village Theater?
6:30 to 9.
6:30 to 9.
The award ceremony is at 7:30.
Some years there's been food.
So we'll have the cultural commission stand up and introduce themselves, and then the artists stand up and introduce themselves, and we'll all clap and look at their art. Okay.
Fun. Oh, you sent an invitation about,
Mhm.
Great.
All right, great. Anyone else?
Tomorrow, this will be too late for airtime on this, but tomorrow at lunch is a Local Impact Alliance Lunch and Learn about media savviness and politics and things like that, what's real and what's not, that kind of thing. So
That's given by the
Samar is
Canton,
the speaker.
Yes. They call it Local Impact Alliance and used to be
Yeah,
known.
it's Canton Community Foundation is part of the Local Impact Alliance, so.
Speaker, is it Summer Sakakini from
Yes.
our,
Local community here.
well, is she on the cultural?
On the cultural, yeah.
Oh, she got 2 events this week.
Yeah. I think, yeah, this is her background in marketing and yeah.
I'm gonna be, we have the Association of Wayne County Clerks. I won't be able to
Oh,
make it.
yeah. 11:30 tomorrow, bring your lunch. Sorry, we'll miss you.
Miss me.
Yep.
I'll be there in spirit.
Yep.
Another thing, Wednesday, October 12th, is part of our mental health series, Walking with Grief. So that's Wednesday, October 12th, 5:30 to 7:30 at the summit. So the workshop aims to demystify the grieving process in ourselves and others, as well as offer new methods for walking with our grief. So if anybody wants to come and participate in that. Okay. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Support.
Made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Snyderman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes.